When their fingers were seriously throbbing, they stopped. "There's got to be another way in there," Beamer said, blowing on his fingers. "Let's backtrack." That's what they did until they found a side tunnel. Careful to scratch little rocket symbols into the wall so that they could find their way back, they again struck off into the unknown. Making one turn after another, trying to head in the direction of the clanking sound, they fought through major spider colonies and piles of rubble. Suddenly they heard another sound, this one loud and shrill. Scilla stopped abruptly and shouted, "Go back!" But it was too late. The next thing they knew, there was a one-eyed creature with bad breath, wailing like a banshee hot on their behinds. That's hot as in burn your buns hot, and getting hotter by the second. The Starfighters ran down a dark tunnel as fast as their middle school legs could go, which wasn't all that fast since they had to run bending over like orangutans. The trouble was that the tunnel was so small they couldn't stand up, not even Scilla. Frankly, their prospects didn't look good. In fact, you might want to see if anything is recorded from this point on. This could turn out to be a very short story. Just an hour before, on their way home from school, the threesome had decided to take their subterranean shortcut. It wasn't all that short when you considered that they had to take a long ladder beneath the park, wind through a maze of caves, and then come back up and cut through a bizarre garden behind Parker's castle. That castle was Murphy Street's own little corner of Transylvania, dark towers, moat, and all. It belonged to Ms. Parker, who just happened to be the scariest person on the street. Shortcut or not, that passage beneath Murphy Street had saved their hides more than once. It was their emergency escape route and their hideaway from bullying gangs. This summer, the caves had been lit up like Christmas from the clouds of fireflies and the moss glowing on the walls. With the coming of winter, though, the fireflies were burrowing into their tiny winter caves, leaving only the dim, creepy glow of the moss for illumination. That might be enough if you're a bat, but not if you're human. Luckily, the lanterns still worked, if you could really call them lanterns. After all, lanterns were supposed to have a flame, right? These didn't. Instead, when you turned one on, it had a large round bulb filled with glowing liquid. The eerie part, though, was that the light was the same color as a firefly's light. Of course, the really eerie part was that no one knew who made them or how they worked. But somebody had made enough of them to place all over the caves so that you could find one when you needed it. That was a good thing, since you couldn't always count on having a flashlight when an emergency turned up, like the one they were having now. The bad news was that a lantern had guided them into the tunnel they were now wishing they could find a way out of. The good news? They were still young, and their parents could probably get discounts on their tombstones. The beast was almost on them, with its hot, steamy breath making them feel like shrimp on a Barbie. Suddenly, the tunnel floor slipped out from beneath them. "Ah!" they cried as they flailed momentarily in midair. Then they fell. The next thing they knew, they were plunging through a chute, as in a water ride, and splashing into a fast-moving stream. The sound echoed all around them. They had the sense of being in a large space. "Help! Help!" Ghoulie burbled as he splashed the water frantically. "I can't swim!" Then he saw Scilla standing up, hands on hips, looking down at him with a smirk. He felt his knees bump against the stream bed and stood, giving Scilla a sheepish, red-faced look. "What was that thing?" Beamer sputtered as he crawled, drenched and muttering, out of the stream. "I don't know," said Scilla, "but it could use some work on personal hygiene. I can still smell its breath." "Next question," Ghoulie said as he peered through the darkness. "Where are we?" A faint light grew in the distance, behind a range of hills. "Are we outside?" asked Scilla. "It can't be night already." "Worse than that. It looks like sunrise," groaned Beamer. "It's almost time for school."